2. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the REI Marketing Weekly. It's your host, Josh Culler here, and thank you for clicking on the video. I've got an exciting interview for you today. I actually jumped off of this guy's podcast about 5-10 minutes ago. That was awesome, so make sure you go check that out. Show some love for your boys, so go check it out. And hopefully you guys are getting a lot of value out of the content back in the newsletter, so make sure you're checking that out. And then anything that we talk about here, whether it's ways to contact RJ or any resources we talk about, it's going to be in the description of this video. So make sure you check that out. I keep saying check it out, but just check it out everywhere you go. So I got my good buddy, RJ Bates, the third on the line. I got to sneak that in. I always see like the third on everything for your name. So I got to sneak that in there. That's proper marketing, man, because it's setting yourself apart from people.
It is.
And there might be another guy out there that's named RJ Bates, but you're the third. So we're good.
There's
two others.
RJ Bates, and he's a baseball player.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
His YouTube videos have been up forever, so I'm constantly battling him for position. I'm finally starting to overtake him. So
That's right. That's good, man. Okay, cool. So we're going to have him introduce himself. But today, we're going to actually talk about no money marketing. So you guys know that this entire newsletter is about marketing for real estate investors. But, we've talked about things like SMS marketing and cold calling and specific ways to, structure your postcards and stuff like that. But what if we talk about where you don't have to actually use money? You could use free resources, and free resources, free tools, and the only thing that's going to cost you is time. But maybe it's not a cost, maybe it's an investment. So we're going to talk about that today. There's a couple of things that we're going to go specifically deep into. But before we get into it, RJ, do me a favor, just an elevator pitch, who you are and what you do.
So I'm RJ Bates III. My company's Titanium Investments, based out of Fort Worth, Texas. We started off wholesaling, but we flip. We're landlords. We own and finance. We do it all across the country in crazy places like Hawaii and Alaska. But we also do it in normal places like Texas, Arizona, St. Louis, things along those lines. Just a couple things about me and our company. We've been doing this since January 1 of 2015 full time. Since then, we've bought and sold a little bit over $100 million worth of real estate. And to be quite honest with you, majority of that we have done with $0 marketing. So I'm excited to sit down with you and go over some of those super simple tactics that we've used in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, I think one of the things that you automatically think about is networking, which we'll talk about that here in a second. But normally, when you talk about networking, it's belly to belly stuff. It's going to meetups, it's going to masterminds, and talking with people, and that's all fine and well. We're not going to talk about that today. That's a good source of marketing, but we're going to talk about a different way, which is kind of virtual networking, which is primarily Facebook. So it's funny when I'm niched into this industry. My services are, and I was doing a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. But what I found to come to quickly realize is that there's not a lot of real estate investors that are either on LinkedIn or active on LinkedIn.
Right.
And Mike Hambright's one of my clients. And when we were sitting down with his team doing a content marketing strategy for going into 2020, we're going to be going in hot. He specifically said, I don't get anything out of LinkedIn. So we're like, okay, well, we're not doing that. And so we're going to go hard at Facebook, Instagram, and a couple other platforms. But anyway, so we're going to talk about that. But RJ, there's a million different ways to do marketing nowadays. And in this saturated industry, you've got to get really creative. There's some things that you got to do that maybe you don't enjoy doing, but it's going to bring you deals. There might be people that you got to plug into that. Maybe some sources, you got to outsource some things in order to, get the marketing rolling on specific items that you're going to do. But a lot of times when people think about marketing, they think about how much money do I got to dump into this? That's That's the biggest thing. You got to have a marketing budget, which you do. There are things that you're going to have to spend marketing dollars on. But guys, there are free things that you could do with marketing. So RJ, let's talk about this for just a few minutes. We got, maybe 5 to 8 minutes here that we're going to talk about. So one of the things that you mentioned before we jumped on to the recording here was Facebook Marketplace and specifically Facebook. But let's talk about some things. I mean, you told me a story about at Wholesaling Live, you putting an offer on a house on, Facebook Marketplace. But what are some strategies that you use for no money marketing on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, so Facebook Marketplace is basically a place where you can go on there and sell items, and there's people that are listing their houses on there. And we have previously used Facebook Marketplace to try to sell houses, And that's where kind of the idea came from, where it's like, hey, if we're trying to sell houses on Facebook Marketplace, why not try to go on Facebook Marketplace and buy houses? And it's very simple. There's a picture right there and a price. And this is something that I do during downtime. I jokingly say almost everybody out there spends a couple of minutes a day on the toilet, and most of the time you're going to be looking at your cell phone.
Yep.
Why not be trying to buy a house instead of reading about what somebody ate for lunch, or, their sob story, hey, I'm trying to make money over here. So I go on there and I look for, it's almost like driving for dollars, but it's very quick and easy. I'm looking for something distressed or a number that doesn't match with the picture of the house. So for example, if I see a very nice looking house that's listed for $99,000, that might not add up if it's in DFW. So I'm like, hey, maybe there's a motivation there. And it's very easy to just message the seller right there. You can ask them a question. Facebook even has made it so simple that they have templated out responses like, hey, is this still available? Things along those lines. And so it's almost like driving for dollars and cold calling or text messaging or sending them a postcard, except you're just utilizing a different platform. Instead of driving, I'm sitting there on Facebook, and instead of sending them a postcard that cost me 38 cents, I'm just sending them a message saying, hey, I'm interested in the house. Can I have some more information, or can I set up an appointment? And from there, we make offers pretty quickly on it. As soon as I get the address and the information, I make offers pretty quickly just based off the pictures and our knowledge of what the repairs would be. And that's one of our strategies. This is not like a, hey, stop doing direct mail or cold calling, and just go to Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. This is like a supplemental thing that you can do for free. And, we've gotten several deals utilizing it this way, and it's super easy. Anybody can do it. And because we're in multiple markets, I can also change my location and do it in multiple locations. So I can be looking at properties in Anchorage, Alaska from Fort Worth, Texas, and it's basically like me driving for dollars for FSBOs in Anchorage, Alaska.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this, obviously, like I already mentioned this, the only thing it costs you is time, and maybe I guess your cell phone bill, right? Like if you want to throw it, if you want to get that nitty gritty, right? But I mean, it's not costing you 38 cents a postcard to send this out, or whatever, 5 to 10 cents for a text message, or whatever the rates are nowadays. So I think that's something that people. It's funny when I talk to investors. It's funny because they always want to do the marketing that costs them a lot of money. And then when you hand them these easy ideas to just get extra deals, they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So realistically, I mean, this is, we talked about blue oceans on your show, when I was on your show. This could be a blue ocean marketing strategy for a lot of people, people that maybe not in your market or markets, and they're in maybe a secondary or tertiary market, like, do this stuff. So, I mean, I guess another question I would have for you is like, do you find a lot of deals on Facebook Marketplace? Is there a lot of people that are listing their houses? I mean, obviously, again, the market that you're in, you're going to probably have a higher volume.
Yep.
But like for you, do you find a lot of deals, or just like every once in a while, when you're on the toilet, you're just scrolling through real quick and seeing if you see one or two? Like, how is that?
Yeah, I would say every time that I go on there to look, I at least find 2 or 3 that I can place an offer on.
Right.
And it's not like low ball offers, they're asking 200 and I'm offering 100. They're relatively close.
Right.
So now here's the other thing. The turnover is not going to be super high. So when you do look at it, you almost have to wait like a week or 2 weeks to go look at it again to refresh and see new listings on there.
Yeah.
But I would say every time I do it, I at least make 2 or 3 offers. For the amount of times that I've done it, I would say maybe 1 deal every 2 months. But that's also because I'm not like actively doing it as much as I should. I mean, as sad as it is,
sure,
I'm a busy entrepreneur, and sometimes I just don't mentally think like, hey, I need to sit down and do this. But yeah, there's always deals available. And no, I do not consider the cell phone bill to be a part of my marketing expense. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So another strategy I was thinking about when I was on my phone here. So for those of you who are watching my eyes, I was looking at my cell phone because I was gonna go on here and give another idea. But for those of you, if you're watching this, like, There's also a place where you can list rentals, and a
Yep.
good strategy might be to also message those landlords. I mean,
Yep.
there's a lot of people that get deals from tired landlords, right? And so if you see something that might be in your criteria, and there's tons. I'm in Northwest Indiana right now, and there's like, I'm still scrolling. Like, there's an insane amount of properties here. So go on there and maybe message them and just say, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I'm able to pay cash for the house. Your typical pitch, right?
Right.
But that's a good idea too, is, go to the rentals place and say, hey, I'm not a renter. Be honest with them and say, hey, I'm not a renter. I'm a real estate investor. But hey, if you ever find that you don't want the property, then, shoot me a message and we can talk. So
And
that might be another thing.
if you're a virtual wholesaler as well, this could be something that you hire VAs to do in multiple markets for you.
Right.
It's pretty simple to teach. It can be a script just like any other SMS texting that you're doing, because it's really not a whole lot different than SMS. No. It's just how you're getting your list, right? And in regular SMS, you have to buy a list with some kind of motivation and then skip trace it. This, you're just scrolling through and you're finding ugly pictures or a low price, and then you're sending it out. Yeah. But outside of that, man, I mean, I've utilized Facebook more than just Facebook Marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, content marketing, which is obviously what you do. I have my podcast. I have my YouTube channel. I'm always just going into different large groups and giving out advice and commenting on other people's posts. I've actually seen that commenting on other people's posts actually gives a better reaction than you being the original poster. Yep. I have an internal competitive battle that when there is a large thread, I try to be the person that gets the most likes and reactions as a comment within the thread, because it's important. I mean, it's like, that's how you're reaching people, and so from that, we've gotten private money from Facebook. Mm-hmm. We've gotten deals, not only from wholesalers and realtors, but from people that need to sell. I mean, it's funny because when you post on Facebook, you don't know who your seller is eventually going to be. And there's been multiple times where it's like, hey, someone I went to high school with, grandmother needs to sell their house.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And because of the things that I've posted and put out there, these are deals that are coming back to us. And I can't correlate a number back to that. I mean, I'm sure I could put like a number on my time.
Sure.
And honestly, I consider those $0 marketing deals.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because you're not putting money out there in order to get the marketing to move, right? You're not like to initiate the marketing channel. I think that's it's a little bit of an orthodox way to do, marketing, but it's going to bring you some extra deals, especially, for those of you, I always laugh. There's people out there that complain about the market being saturated, and depending on the market that they're actually in, they complain about it, but then they also don't want to do these easy little things that you can do to kind of skirt around, your typical postcards where you go into a seller and they got a stack like this high of yellow letters and, running Facebook ads and spending an insane amount of money on that and just getting drowned out from other investors that are doing the same thing you are. Like, try these little extra things, and sometimes the free things, they work the best. And I kind of, capping off of what he talked about with, commenting and posting and stuff like that. Like, you never know who's going to see your post. The way that the Facebook algorithms work, it's crazy, that to think that a kid, somebody that you went to high school with multiple years ago would see a post that you posted about buying and selling a house, or maybe you did a walkthrough of a property or something like that. And they're going to see that, even like a month down the road or something like that. Yeah. And then they're like, hey, I need to sell my house. I'll call RJ. It's just little things like that, but it also, like, you're also building rapport with, potential bird dogs, wholesalers that, maybe RJ's flipping, or maybe you're flipping, and you got a wholesaler that saw your video of a walkthrough of a property that you bought. And they're like, hey, I've got a property for you that actually fits this criteria. So they could bring you deals by arbitrage just from a post that you posted. When I was on your show, we were talking about that.
Yeah, you're establishing yourself as a presence and an authority in a certain skill set. And that's what we've done. And hey, anything real estate related, if you know me, you need to bring it to me. And if I can't service you, then I'll point you in the right direction. Yeah. And it's just been a huge blessing for us. I literally joke sometimes. I'm like, I don't know if I would have been able to run a company like in the 80s. I wouldn't know how to do it.
Nope.
This is a huge part of our business,
Yeah.
and it is what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we started the show off here. I was talking about networking and networking belly to belly, but use Facebook to network with people. I mean, the business that I've brought in, I could guarantee you like a good 80 to 90% of it has been through Facebook, just from me commenting on people's stuff or getting tagged in somebody and then actually responding to that comment and then direct messaging that person immediately after I see that comment. And just being active that way. And, social media gets a bad rap for, that kind of thing. But it's funny, like my wife will sometimes, just out of boredom, just pick up my phone and start scrolling through my Facebook feed just to see what's going on. And she's always like, man, I hate scrolling through your feed because all I see is stuff about investors. And I'm like, well, yeah, because that's all I engage with. And that's the way the algorithm works. It's going to push that stuff into my feed. And then I engage with that stuff. So, network with people virtually as well. And you can build some incredible relationships. And again, like RJ said, establish some authority and some credibility. So, RJ, anything else you want to add on? If not, we're going to shut this thing down, man.
The only thing I would say is just put your voice out there, share your journey. I almost have kind of developed this new saying. It's like your responsibility to do it at this point in time. Like it's almost selfish to not do it for your company and for your family. We are blessed to live in this day and age where we have these platforms and the ability to do this. And we're doing this to help people, right? So by sharing what you do and getting it out there, it enables you to help more people. So thank you, Josh, for having me on. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Hope this helps somebody.
Yeah, and I appreciate you being on the show here and then having me on your show as well. That was awesome. So guys, I'll link that below as soon as it goes out so you could watch that and listen to it. But one thing I want to say that you mentioned there is that, we are lucky to be in an age where we can, use these platforms as our voice to get, information out there. But the more stuff that you kind of talk about, it's crazy because I was talking about it on your show by arbitrage. When you establish value with people, we're in a day and age where marketing is it's delivering value to people. And I was talking about, advertising, you got to sprinkle that in and whatnot, but the more value that you bring to people, the more hearts you're going to win, the more customers you're going to win. So think about it that way, guys, just to cap off what he said. So that's it, guys. That's all I got for you. And that's all RJ got for you. We could go on and on and on, and we did on his show. So make sure, again, you listen to that. RJ, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you and learn more about you, what's the best way to get in contact with you personally? Obviously, I'm going to link your show below and your Facebook profile on Instagram and all that. But how can somebody reach you personally?
So either Facebook Messenger or Instagram. My Instagram handle is Titanium Invest. On Facebook, it's just RJ Bates III. But I have a running tradition that any podcast I do, because the first one I ever did was Joe Fearless. I gave my cell phone number. I have to give it out. It's 817-915-6860. Don't call me to prank call me at 3:00 in the morning. Only call me if you want to do business. But those are the best ways to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you doing that. Thanks for being on and sharing everything you did, man. That's going to do it, guys. Make sure you check out the rest of the content that's in the newsletter. Give this video a thumbs up because it's on YouTube. You're watching it there. Check out the description below so you can get all the links to connect with RJ here and anything that we mentioned on the show. So that's going to be it. I'll catch you guys next week. Make sure to email me and reply to this email if you have any questions for me personally. See you guys later.